The period of British rule in India spans roughly from the mid-18th century to the mid-20th century. This era saw profound changes in Indian society, economy, and politics. The British East India Company initially came to India for trade, but gradually established control over large parts of the country, leading to direct British rule under the Crown after 1858. This period, known as the British Raj, continued until India's independence in 1947. The early days, British East India Company, arrival and expansion, 1600 to 1757. The British East India Company was established in 1600 and initially came to India for trading purposes. The company set up trading posts in various parts of India, including Surat, Madras, now Chennai, Bombay, now Mumbai, and Calcutta, now Kolkata. Battle of Plassey and Control, 1757 to 1857. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 marked the beginning of British political control in India. Robert Clive's victory over Nawab Siraj-ud-Daulah of Bengal laid the foundation for British dominance. The company expanded its control through wars, alliances, and treaties, gradually annexing large territories. The British Raj, direct control, 1858 to 1947. Administration and governance. After the Indian Rebellion of 1857, the British Crown took direct control of India. The administrative structure was centralized with a viceroy representing the British monarch. Various administrative reforms were introduced to consolidate British rule. Economic policies and impact. British economic policies in India were primarily extractive. They focused on the export of raw materials from India and the import of British manufactured goods. This led to the deindustrialization of Indian crafts and industries, particularly textiles, and resulted in the impoverishment of large sections of the Indian population. Infrastructure development. The British invested in infrastructure to facilitate their control and economic exploitation. Railways, telegraphs, roads, and ports were developed, which also inadvertently contributed to the modernization of India and its integration into a global economy. Life in Indian villages. Social structure and hierarchy. Indian villages were characterized by a rigid social hierarchy based on caste. The upper castes held significant power and resources, while the lower castes and Dalits, formerly untouchables, faced severe social and economic discrimination. Agricultural economy. The majority of Indians lived in villages and depended on agriculture for their livelihood. The British introduced several changes in land revenue systems, such as the Zamindari, Ryatwari, and Mahalwari systems. These systems often resulted in high taxation and exploitation of peasants by landlords and moneylenders. Rural crafts and industries. Villages also had various crafts and cottage industries, such as weaving, pottery, and carpentry. However, these traditional industries suffered greatly due to British economic policies that favored the import of British goods and discouraged indigenous production. Education and social reform. Education in villages was minimal, with traditional schools, pathshalas, and madrasas providing basic education. However, the British introduced modern education systems, which slowly spread to rural areas, albeit unevenly. Social reform movements also emerged, challenging caste discrimination and advocating for women's rights and education. Resistance and nationalism. Early resistance and revolts. Resistance to British rule was present from the outset, with various revolts and uprisings, including the Sannyasi Rebellion, the Pica Rebellion, and the Indian Rebellion of 1857, which was a major but ultimately unsuccessful attempt to overthrow British rule. Rise of Indian nationalism. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw the rise of Indian nationalism. The Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, became the principal platform for Indian aspirations for self-rule. Leaders like Dadabhai Naoroji, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and later Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Subhas Chandra Bose played crucial roles in the struggle for independence. Civil disobedience and non-cooperation. Mahatma Gandhi's strategies of non-violent resistance, including the non-cooperation movement, the civil disobedience movement, and the Quit India movement, mobilized millions of Indians against British rule. These movements were marked by mass protests, boycotts of British goods, and civil disobedience. Independence and Partition, 1947. India gained independence from British rule on August 15, 1947. However, the subcontinent was partitioned into two independent dominions, India and Pakistan, leading to one of the largest mass migrations in history and significant communal violence. Conclusion. The 300-year history of British rule in India is a complex tapestry of exploitation, resistance, and transformation. It left a profound impact on Indian society, economy, and polity, the effects of which are still felt today. The period saw the decline of traditional industries, the introduction of modern infrastructure and education, and the rise of a nationalist movement that eventually led to India's independence. This overview provides a broad picture. If you need more detailed sections or specific events, figures, or themes elaborated upon, please let me know.